This time of the year, everybody seems to be getting ready for Christmas. And getting ready for Christmas means getting gifts for others and anticipating what you might be getting for Christmas as well. I'm thinking about this and spoke with the men at our Saturday morning prayer meeting the other day and just said, let me tell you a good gift that you can give to yourself. And that is the gift of contentment. In a previous session here on my YouTube, I gave you a full-length sermon on contentment, but I want to just add a couple of thoughts under the idea of giving it as a gift to yourself, because, nobody else can give you contentment. You have to have it yourself. Contentment is a state of satisfaction and peace when I know I am where God has placed me and I'm doing what God has given me to do. Be honest, a lot of people lack contentment because they're outside the will of God, and God is always dealing with them and trying to get them to come back to His will, and they're lacking contentment in that. And so I want to just talk about contentment for just a minute. This is a short video today. How do we become content? Well, I would say, first of all, we've got to learn to be thankful. We just passed the Thanksgiving season, and we talk a lot about being thankful then. But it is so important that we learn this idea. Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 20 said, always, for all things we are to be thankful. Always, for all things. Now, I know that there are people who have in the past, they've taken that scripture out of its context and said things like, well, that means when you sin, you need to be thankful because God said, be thankful for all things. No, God is never the author of sin. I should be broken because of my sin and repentant of my sin. But in life situations that I have no options in and I have no control over, I need to learn to be thankful. God is at work in our life. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 18, another verse that we mentioned quite often, says, in everything give thanks. And so that really encompasses just about everything there is, for all things and in all things. So I would just stop for a moment and ask you, are you thankful? Are you fretting over things that are totally out of your control, things that without a doubt, God's brought into your life? Are you thankful for that? Now, thankfulness arises from something else. It arises from a couple of things I think are very important. Number one, a realization that I am not worthy of the least of God's blessings. I've lived a long time. I don't consider myself an ancient person, but I have lived a long time. And I know that God has blessed me far, far beyond what I deserve. And I am thankful for that. I think of the story in Luke chapter number 7 about the centurion whose servant was sick, and he sent to Jesus and wanted him to come and actually wanted him to heal him because he was about ready to die. But in verse 4 of Luke 7, he said, when they came to Jesus, they besought him instantly, saying that he was worthy for them that he should do this. Now, the people that went said he was worthy. But in verse 6, then Jesus went with them, and when he was not far from the house, the centurion sent friends to him, saying, Lord, trouble not thyself. I am not worthy that thou shouldst enter under my roof. Do you see the contrast? The people who knew this centurion said to Jesus, you ought to help him because he's worthy. But as Jesus approached it, the centurion sent and said, I am not worthy, not even that you should come under my roof. And when you and I understand that we have so many blessings from God, then we can learn to be thankful. I think also of what I read in Ephesians chapter 3 and verse number 8, where the Apostle Paul says, unto me, he says, who am least, or I am less than the least of all saints, is this grace given, that I should preach among the Gentiles the unsearchable riches of Christ. He said, I am less than the least of all of them. And Paul understood that. He was a man of humility. He realized that everything he had, as he mentions in Corinthians, was because of the grace of God. So if you want to be thankful, just stop and realize that no matter how much you have, you're not worthy. We've sinned against God so much, we're worthy of none of his blessings, but he blesses us anyway. Secondly, stop comparing yourself with other people. This is a very tragic thing. And, as a pastor, I guess I've been guilty of fostering this idea of comparing, because I will say things like, if you look at yourself, compare yourself with people in undeveloped countries, you're very rich. Talking about people here in America. Well, I understand that. Compared to many people in the world, we have a great high standard of living. But I'm still comparing. And it's easy for us to fall in that trap. But what we most often will do is we will look at someone who has more than we do and we'll say, it's not fair. They've got more. And so we're comparing ourselves with others. So do you want to be content? Then learn to be thankful. Just be thankful for all things, in all things. Thanksgiving is increased in our life when we realize that what we have because of the grace of God. And don't compare yourself with others. God made you unique. God put you where he wanted you. God is working your life the way he wants to. So at this season, give yourself the gift of contentment. Thank you for tuning in and listening. God bless you.